So I was scrolling, and then I saw this. Vladimir Kramnik has returned to Title Tuesday Blitz Chess on chess.com, the 1st of 2024, and he's not played for about 2 months or something. Because in case you don't know, he's like Ash Ketchum right now when it comes to cheaters, and he's especially been gunning for Hikaru Nakamura. That one rumbles on. Now here, what made this even more incredible was that he was paired with Magnus Carlsen in round 9 of the early tournament. Mouth-watering stuff, and after Kramnik goes e4, Magnus gives him the full disrespect opening treatment by playing pawn to h6, and it just gets better. This is known as the Carr defense, C-A-R-R. Never heard of it, but fasten your seatbelts because we're headed for 100 mile an hour very rapidly here. And one more thing to note, Kramnik's 139 on the clock here because he delayed his opening move, maybe missed that the game had started. Magnus, very gentlemanly, he waited to also let his clock time run down. And there was a problem with the chess.com server today as well, which is interesting. Possibly then more traffic coming into chess right now, who knows, right? But the servers were down for a bit. So d4 from Kramnik, very principled. Magnus goes e6 now on move 2, still not developing a piece, still not fighting properly for the centre. And after knight c3, he gives Kramnik the full treatment, a6 on the board. A trio of tiny little bunny ear pawn moves. Look at that. We get knight f3 and still Magnus doesn't touch the pieces, doesn't touch the d pawn. He goes b5, bishop d3, c5. 5 pawn moves on the first set of moves. You know, you're taught as a kid to fight for that centre, develop pieces. Magnus ripping up the rule book here. And I say disrespect playfully, jokingly, right? But these world champions, you know, they expect a certain amount of respect and deference. You know, Kramnik's a former world champion. They're just not used to having people play like this against them. Just incredible. So takes was played. Magnus recaptures with the bishop. And now look at this. Castles, bishop b7. Those bishops look nice already for black. I mean, white's better, don't get me wrong. But Magnus should just write some book on sidelines one day because he gets these playable positions. And now here, already on move 8, Kramnik goes pawn a4, bang. There goes his opening advantage. He's gone wrong, as so many do. The best move was a3. Because now b4 comes, drives back this knight here, and Magnus is doing absolutely fine. We get knight f6, knight g3, it carries on spinning round. d6 from Magnus, queen e2, pressures this pawn, Magnus carries on developing, and a5 fixes that long-term weakness on a6. Nice positional chess from Kramnik. So queen c7 from Magnus, bishop d2, and now this is just outstanding from Carlsen. He just knows which piece to pick up and push, right? He plays the move pawn to h5. He begins an attack on the king side there, and it's absolutely approved by the computer. The Silicon Overlord is purring. His pieces are looking in this direction. It's absolutely the right play. So bishop g5 played, excuse me, to stop the advance of the pawn here. You know, the knight supports, and that's why Magnus now continues with knight to e5 here. He wants to remove one of these defenders of the king and then ram this one home with pawn h4. Now Kramnik takes, it is the best move. Pawn recaptures, Magnus has shattered his structure, but this is a threat and it causes Vladimir to go wrong. h4, the best move here. You can drop back with the bishop as well, although that looks slightly ugly. But instead, bishop takes on f6 played, Pawn recaptures, knight takes. Yes, you've won a pawn, shattered Magnus's structure, which he now defends with the king, but this is risky. Knight g3, rook h4, h3, and the second rook joins the party. Look at these lines open to the king. That is not what you want in a blitz game, or classical for that matter. Now I'm pausing for a second because f5 was a very strong move here, with the really subtle point that after captures, not pawn recaptures, allowing this fork on king and rook, but queen c6. Where did this come from? And you can't go f3, the move you want to make, because the pawn's pinned to the king. So you have to actually give up a minor piece on this square, supported by these ones. Black is winning. So coming back here, that was very strong, threatening f4, and capture's not possible. But Magnus starts with this. King h2 covers the knight. There was a threat to capture it. The pawn was pinned as mentioned, and now Magnus goes f5. It's not as strong as before with the king not on g1 anymore, but it's still good. But more importantly, look at the clock times here. Magnus squeezing Vladimir. So we get bishop takes on a6. Kramnik going for that counterplay. Nice idea. Magnus takes here. The knight recaptures. That is a bit of a monster piece. Rook takes back. The queen is hit. It jumps out to h5 here. Again, look at the clocks. Magnus just sitting on Vladimir's time. And now after rook d4, Magnus sets up such a sneaky trap here. And just before I reveal that move, there were so many good games played in this title Tuesday. They're coming this week. Carlsen Classics, opening madness. So if you're not yet subscribed, do consider never miss a game. So the sneaky trap, which Magnus has now set, is queen to c6. You pressure this bishop and the pawn on g2 at the same time. So white should go g3 here, or rook fd1, preparing bishop f1, but neither move played. King h1 comes from Kramnik, huge blunder because queen c6, double attack, the bishop and the pawn. Queen f3 covers the mate, but now this bishop drops. Kramnik in dire straits, pawn c3, desperate stuff. The rook hit, queen takes, now the bishop hit. It comes to b4, we get queen c7 check and king f6. Magnus just camping out with his king on a square it's got no right to be on usually, but completely justified here. So queen b6 offers an exchange. Magnus takes it, of course, loves an endgame. Pawn recaptures, rook b8, rook a6, rook d6, and here we see resignation from Kramnik. The pawn's about to drop. He's a clean minor piece down. It's game over. And look at Magnus's rating. 33.64. He's already broke the rating at 33.40, you know, the highest record ever. He's headed for like 3,400 at this rate. If you enjoyed this one and want to see another similar disrespect opening, then check out the video on screen.